Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 29th of December. Good to have you aboard, part of the Believe Podcast Network, and presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. And of course, we did it together, everybody. We made it. We got to the end of the week. We have a monster Dolphin game coming up this Sunday. Dolphins, Ravens. Will that be a big game, not a big game today? No spoilers. Maybe a prediction, but no spoilers. We got big game, not a big game coming up like we do every Friday. Hey, I haven't done big movie, not a big movie in a while. It's the holiday season. You know there are big movies and not big movies out there. We will do big movie, not a big movie today. Also, we didn't get around to answering mailbag questions yesterday, so we will do mailbag today. A lot of fun to be had. We're not off. We're doing the show. The only people that don't get any time off during the holiday season we know are pro athletes and, of course, the good folks at BetOnline. With the NFL, bowl season in full swing, the NBA, NHL, BetOnline isn't taking a second off, making sure you have all the up-to-the-second odds, news, info. BetOnline has all the sports wagering available you need with desktop and mobile access. Head there today to get into the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, maybe a little bit tired today. It's okay because it's Friday, but we had late night with the Heat last night. I was watch the first half downstairs. So, here's what we had last night. Football start. Okay, last night was actually really fun because we had some stuff to keep our attention before the Heat game got going at 10 p.m. How are we going to kill some time? Well, obviously at 8 o'clock, you had Browns and Jets, which started out great. First quarter was fun. Score, an interception, return for touchdown. Like, it looked like you were going to have a fun little game. Browns kicked the shit out of the Jets 37-20, just like you would expect. It's pretty cool. I mean, look, we talk about the MVP. Every week it seems to change. Joe Flacco, he's not going to win MVP. He's only going to play in 6 games after next week. But you can obviously make the case, Joe Flacco, most valuable player, because that's a really good Jets offense. And defense, terrible offense. Really good Jets defense that Flacco and the Browns tore up last night. And, I mean, they gave Deshaun Watson $250 million. Flacco's so much better. And this Browns team is dangerous. They put it on them last night. They could run the ball. They could throw it all over the field. Amari Cooper didn't even play last night. So yeah, only 6 games for Joe Flacco is what he'll wind up playing after next week's action. But you can obviously make a case for Joe Flacco, most valuable player. The Browns are a dangerous team. Sorry, I take a sip of my vitamin water. So now, after yesterday, the Browns are still in the 5 spot. But here the stakes them. They're 11-5. If the Ravens lose this weekend to the Dolphins, the Browns are absolutely in play. Not just to win that division, but for the number 1 overall seed. A lot of things have to bounce their way. But if the Dolphins win this weekend, Browns are still in play for the AFC North Championship. So anyway, we're a couple sleeps away from the next biggest Dolphin game of the season. Dolphins and Ravens. I gotta tell you, I feel good about it. I do. I know you got Dolphin fans that are super nervous in that whole deal. And you should be nervous because this shit is so hard. Wait till you get to the playoffs and you're in the second round and you're playing a really good team. Or wait till you get to the AFC Championship and the Dolphins are on the road and they're 1 game away from getting to the Super Bowl for the first time in almost 40 years. So you think you're nervous about this weekend. The nerves are a good thing. The nerves mean you got something really important going on and something that you really care about going on this weekend. So the nerves that you feel, and I'm confident in the Dolphins this weekend, but the nerves that you're feeling right now going into this game, embrace that shit. This is a good thing. I'm telling you. Butch up if you're feeling down about this game this weekend, if you're nervous about it. You got the anxiety. It's okay. Come on. This is good stuff this weekend. Think about how long it's been that you have a game this late in the season with this much on the line. Remember, I told you it was back in 2003 that, was it 03? I think it was 03, 20 years ago, where going into the second to last week, the Dolphins were 10-4. They had the chance to control their own destiny, just like this year. Win your final 2 games, number 1 overall seed. And the Dolphins went on to lose at Minnesota and at New England. They finished 10-6. They went from controlling their own fate, number 1 overall seed, to missing the playoffs entirely. So now, missing the playoffs entirely is obviously not in play right now. But they control their own fate. Win the final 2 games, the first time this late in the season that they're in this spot in 20 years. Embrace this shit, all right? This is going to be a lot of fun this weekend. So, anyway, we'll circle back to the Dolphins and NFL stuff. Let's start out with the Heat. Now, you know how I was enjoying that Heat game last night. Had a nice cold Johnny Cuba in my hand. That's right, we had the football going on leading into the Heat game. Had a couple Johnnies. If you don't have Johnny Cuba in your house right now, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie. Pick up a Johnny Cuba to enjoy for the weekend. You don't know about that Johnny Cuba? European roots with that Caribbean soul. A refreshing German lager in a can. Official beer of ZASLOW Show 2.0. I love when you guys take a picture the first time you're trying a Johnny Cuba. I then put it on my Instagram stories. Everybody loves that. We're all having a drink together. Again, make sure you always drink responsibly and don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. So before I actually get to the Heat last night, we got the football on, and on the small TV, we're waiting for 10 o'clock to roll around, and on the small TV, I got NBA TV on, because this has become must-watch TV now. The Detroit Pistons. The Pistons were at the Celtics last night. The Pistons were plus 900 going into the game, and there was a lot of action on the Pistons, because plus 900... it's a crazy money line for an NBA game. Pistons, Celtics, best record of the NBA, Boston. No Jaylen Brown, but whatever. I had the game on because they're going to beat somebody, right? But here's the thing. The Pistons are so bad, but every game they play now, they're going to get the opposing team's best efforts. Because the Celtics, for instance, last night, don't want to be the team that helps them end that right now, or going into last night, 27-game skid. They're getting every team's best effort. And if the game is close, you get a great crowd like last night in Boston, where, I mean, fuck those people, but you get a great crowd in Boston last night because they don't want to lose to the Pistons. So, what should be a terrible game, best team in the league, worst team in the league, you get a playoff-type atmosphere because the crowd does not want to lose to Detroit, and the team does not want to lose to Detroit. So I had that on the little TV. Celtics were up big the first half, 17-19. They're up 19, I think, early in the third quarter. Celtics obviously make the run. The Pistons, though, they tie the game with just seconds remaining. Bogdanovic with a putback. Actually, Cade Cunningham shot a 3 to win it. Wasn't even close. This Piston team is so fucking bad. And the Celtics were terrible last night. So many offensive rebounds for Detroit. Game goes to overtime. The Celtics pretty much controlled overtime. They win by 6 in OT. But that game was awesome. I then put the last few minutes of the game on the big TV in the ZASLOW Mansion family room and put the football, I think, may have been at halftime at that point. So I was able to focus on the last few minutes of it. And matter of fact, it ended right as the Heat game was starting. But the Pistons have become must-watch TV now. Like, I don't know when they're going to be on NBA TV again. They're not going to be on national TV. But if they still have the losing streak going, I'm watching the Pistons. This is history every time. And you're getting a great effort out of the other teams. They don't want to lose. I'm telling you, I don't know when this Piston streak is going to end. You're like, and like I said, they got to beat somebody. I don't know. Because no team wants to be the team that loses to Detroit. So I don't know when the Pistons are going to get out of this. It's now 28 consecutive losses for Detroit. But that game was awesome. So then finally, Heat game starts. And so you do the late night with the Heat. If you're a little bit tired today, that's okay. I was tired. I wanted to shut the game off with like 2 minutes left, but it's something about it because I was really tired. Watching it in bed. My wife's like, is this game live? I'm like, yeah, they're in, San Francisco. Game's live. I wanted to shut it off with like 2 minutes left because the Heat were definitely going to win at this point, but there's something about it. There's something in my brain. I have to watch the whole game. I have to see the end. Not even that I thought they were going to blow it. They're up 15 with 2 minutes left. They're not going to blow anything. I have to know the final score. I have to know who scores all the baskets. I can't turn it off early. And I thought the Heat win 114-102 last night. Game was close in the first half. The Heat were up double figures for almost all of the second half. They really kicked their ass. So the Heat win 114-102. They were minus Jimmy Butler, minus Kyle Lowry, minus Caleb Martin, minus Josh Richardson. So down 3 starters. Jaime Jaquez Jr. got the start last night. Haywood Highsmith got the start last night. R.J. Hampton got the start in the backcourt last night. So I would imagine, since Duncan Robinson still came off the bench last night, when the Heat are healthy, Duncan's not going to start. I wish Lowry wouldn't start, but Duncan's going to come off the bench, which is fine, all right? And the Heat, by the way, number 1 3-point shooting team in the NBA right now. Tyler Hero, awesome last night. He's having a great start to this season. Are we still in the start to the season? The Heat have won 4 in a row. They played 31 games. They're 19-12. Season best 7 games over 500. We're almost at the halfway point. Hero had 26 points, 10 for 18 from the floor, 3 of 7 from 3. Bam Adebayo had 17 points and 11 rebounds. My boy, Jaime Jaquez Jr., 17 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, doing it all out there. Stud. But I thought, and by the way, like that game was interesting, right? This team is interesting. They are. And they've been a real pleasant surprise because even with guys out, like Jimmy out, I love watching Hero and I love watching Jaquez Jr. And man, Bam, he's got that fadeaway. He's got the moves. Bam he's that guy now. This team is interesting. Going into a season that we thought was going to be boring. This team is interesting. And I thought last night was a big game for them because not only is it on the road against a very good home team, right? The Warriors. What was the Warriors? I mean, did they say I think they'd won 8 in a row at home before the Heat won that game last night. The Warriors' home record this season, overall they stink, the Warriors. They're 15-16 now. At home, they're 9-7. Did they win 8 straight at home? They couldn't have been 1-6 at home before that, could they? I thought on the broadcast last night, Eric and John said they had won 8 in a row at home. Maybe I heard that wrong, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. But winning at Golden State, that's never easy, all right? And I thought it was big last night because remember what I told you I think a lot of this season needs to be about. I thought the Heat were going to take a step back this regular season compared to last regular season, which was not a good regular season. I thought they were going to take a step back because they need to make sure by the time they get to the playoffs, they've essentially replaced Vincent and Strus. And what I mean by that is those are guys who, not only starters, but major contributors in the playoffs. They need to make sure that this regular season, they get some guys ready to play in big moments, in big spots, big minutes in the playoffs and help them win playoff games. That's what I felt a lot of this regular season would be about. And last night was one of those nights. Last night, you had, because you were short guys, Jamal Cain, 18 points off the bench, 7 of 14, knocked out a huge 3 in the fourth quarter to cut a Golden State run. Niko Jovic, 11 points off the bench, dusted him off, showed the handle, showed the passing skills, showed being able to drive at the basket. Last night I thought was a big game for the Heat because Cain and Jovic both showing you they can contribute if called upon off the bench. And there's going to be a time in the playoffs where one of those guys is going to be called upon and is going to have to play big in a big moment. And because they're getting experience like this in the middle of the regular season, they're not going to shrink in the moment. The moment's not going to be too big for them. We're going to get to a playoff and be like, wow, what a steal and basket by Jamal Cain. Wow, what a shot by Niko Jovic in the fourth quarter to stop that run by whoever the fuck we play in the playoffs. Last night was a big deal for guys like Cain and Jovic to get minutes and have moments on the road against a good team in the Golden State Warriors. I thought last night was a really important game for the Heat. So the Heat win their fourth consecutive game, 19-12. Jovic and Cain showing they could contribute. Jaquez doing his thing. Hero was awesome. Steph Curry had one of his worst games of the season. And yeah, the game was never really in doubt. Road Warriors, man. Great start to the trip. 5-game trip, you want to go 3-2. Because they started 1-0, now tomorrow at Utah, you got to win that game. That team stinks. So if you're 2-0 to start the trip, go 1 out of the final 3 and you have a winning road trip. That's at the Clippers, at the Lakers, and then at the Suns. So last night was a had-to-have. Not a must-win. Not eliminated if you don't win. It was a had-to-have game because you want that winning road trip. So really good job by your favorite little basketball team last night. And tomorrow's at 5 p.m. at the Utah Jazz. And like I said, that team is not good. And last night doesn't mean anything if you don't then take care of business tomorrow. So, and by the way, you want to take advantage because there are no back-to-backs on this trip. Then it's Monday at the Clippers, Wednesday at the Lakers, a week from tonight, Friday at Phoenix. No back-to-backs. Gotta take advantage. Excellent job by your favorite little basketball team last night. All right, so yesterday, I didn't get around to it. I apologize. So you know what? We're going to do it right here. Let's get to ZASLOW Show 2.0 mailbag. That's right. So I got a bunch of questions here. Let's get things going. This question here is from Lawrence Lechuga on Twitter, all right? And he asks, very important question. Biscuits or cornbread? I love biscuits so much. They're terrible for you. All the butter, you know? And cornbread's really good too. But man, like when I go to a place like, you have to go to like Cracker Barrel. Oh my God. The biscuits are, I don't even eat them with gravy. I can eat them plain. But if they're hot, you put the butter in the middle. Oh my God, biscuits are so good. Excellent question, Lawrence. Kupo Beer is asking, ZASLOW, would you cry if the Dolphins won the Super Bowl after this long 30-plus year journey? 30-plus year journey? It's been almost 40 years since they've appeared in the Super Bowl. It's been 50 years since they've won one. 30-year journey? All right, would I cry? I don't think so. And the Panthers have never won. Saw the Marlins win for the first time when I was 16, no cry. Saw the Heat win for the first time when I was 25, yes, cry. I did. I cried when the Heat won their first title. That was 17 years ago. I'm going to be 43 next month, so I guess 18 years ago it'll be. I've never experienced the Dolphins win the Super Bowl. This would be the first championship I would experience with my kids, and my older son definitely cares. So, now, I could tell you, if the Panthers would have won the Stanley Cup, based on my feelings, my emotions all throughout that Stanley Cup run last year, I definitely was going to cry if the Panthers won. I mean, I was so happy. So, I lean toward no. That, I almost think I'd be more emotional if the Dolphins won the AFC Championship than if they won the Super Bowl. Not that that's more important, but just the reality of, oh my God, I can't believe it. They're in the Super Bowl. Like that moment right there may weigh even heavier than if they were to wind up winning the Super Bowl. It would just be so unbelievable. So I lean toward no, but that's a strong maybe. Good question. Next question is from Ryan. ZASLOW, as great as Tua is he worth the mega contract? Can we sign Tua to a mega deal and Wilkins? We have to keep Wilkins. Can't let him go. Major player. All right, yes, they have to keep Wilkins, and they're going to keep Wilkins. But that's why this window right now, that's why you want to win so badly this year, because with Tua under that value contract, you know, this happened with Russell Wilson in his first few years in the league. When you're getting that value, It's so enormous. It happened with Lamar Jackson his first few years of career. I know he didn't win the Super Bowl. It's essentially happening with Brock Purdy right now in San Francisco. If you're getting the quarterback under that value deal, it makes your life so much easier managing the salary cap. Yes, you have to give Tua the mega contract because that's the price to keep a quarterback. Like, what's the other option? Don't keep him? Like, you have to give him the big contract. And as long as he finishes this season healthy, we know that he's a big-time player. And he's proven to you he can stay healthy if he stays healthy. So, yeah, you got to give him the big contract. But, does it mean they're going to be able to give Waddle the huge contract when his time comes? If you have a quarterback making the huge money, can you have 2 wide receivers making huge money? I don't know. Can you have 2 cornerbacks making the huge money? Like, I don't think they would be keeping Xavier Howard. You're going to keep Jalen Ramsey. I think Xavier Howard's time could be coming to an end if that's the case. But Wilkins, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. You got to make sure you can keep Wilkins, but they're not going to be able to keep everyone. Tua is going to be worth the mega contract because that's the price to keep a quarterback. All right, next question here is from Robert Hobbs. Says, Zaslow, is Johnny Cuba a good beer? I mean, what a stupid question. Is Johnny Cuba, I appreciate you asking, but is Johnny Cuba a good beer? Most delicious beer. Come on now. Get up off your ass. Go pick up a Johnny, your local Sedano's, Presidente, Winn-Dixie. It's going to be in a bunch more locations coming up on the new year, and I'll be able to tell you about that soon. Go pick up a Johnny. What's the matter with you, Robert? Next question is from Nick Val Max, and they ask, do you think the Dolphins can beat the Ravens? I'm just hoping for no more injuries. Yeah, we're super beat up. It looks like Waddle's not going to play. Tua's dealing with a thumb injury. He's obviously playing. I think the Dolphins are going to beat the Ravens. I do. They beat them 2 straight years. Now, does that mean anything for this year? No. But I like saying it. I do think the Dolphins are ready for this. I think last week against Dallas goes a long way toward the confidence of this team. They won a big home game against a good team. Now it's time to win a big road game against a really good team. And there's so much at stake. The number 1 overall seed. And if they win this weekend, think about this. I've said it a couple times this week already. If they win this weekend at Baltimore, the Dolphins are 3 home wins away from the Super Bowl. That's crazy. And yeah, I think they're going to beat the Ravens this weekend. All right. Next up, this question is from MRA0486, my man. If the Heat are active in trade or buyout market, what position should they focus on? You probably want a big guy. They have so many wings. You want a big guy the same way that they picked up a big guy last year in Kevin Love. Terry Miller, how you doing, Terry? She says, what will be the Dolphins' biggest challenge against the Ravens, and how will they meet it? I think it's Lamar Jackson and his legs. Now, he doesn't run as much as he used to. He's a much better quarterback now than he was a few years ago. But making sure that you don't, I imagine you got a spy on him, someone like Van Ginkel or whatever. I think the Dolphins' physicality is a bit underrated up front. I don't know why people talk about the Dolphins if they're this finesse team because they got the great offense and the fast receivers. But it's clearly making Lamar throw the ball and making sure they contain him in the pocket. Don't let him use his legs, right? That's pretty easy, right? Yeah. CBWV, my man. Has Jaime shown enough so early in his career to already become virtually untradeable? The answer to that is yes. And here's why. The same thing I just spoke about when it comes to Tua. Jaime Jaquez Jr. has shown he's a stud, and for the next 4 years is under a very, very low contract. That makes him untouchable. That's how you win, when you can find the value under the salary cap. They're already paying, Butler, Hero, Bam, so much money. The way that you beat the salary cap is by getting the value contracts. And Jaime Jaquez Jr. is probably untouchable right now because he only makes $3.5 million. That's why the stupid Portland Trailblazer fans, besides that Jaime Jaquez Jr. is better than Malcolm Brogdon, the idea that Malcolm Brogdon's better than Jaime Jaquez Jr. when Brogdon makes $22 million, You're so stupid. There's not a single GM in the NBA that would take Brogdon over Jaime Jaquez Jr. And then you factor in the money. So yes, to answer your question, CB, he's pretty much untradeable because of the value of that contract. That's the super exciting part. He's a stud, and he's under team control at an amazing price for the next 4 years. And that right there is another edition of ZASLOW Show 2.0 Mailbag. You know who else is a stud? My man Colin, the founder and CEO of Sheets and Giggles. Anyone who could make the softest, coolest, most breathable sheets you've ever slept on, that dude is a stud. And right now, you could become one of over 100,000 Americans who are sleeping on those bed sheets when you go to sheetsgiggles.com. Sheetsgiggles.com. I got the blankets. I got the pillowcases. I got the eucalyptus pillow. I have the comforter. Oh, I love that comforter so much. I don't let my wife have it. I take it in the middle of the night. I want it all to myself. Sheetsgiggles.com. And if you use promo code ZASLOW, you're going to get 20% off your first order. That's right. 20% off your first order. You go to sheetsgiggles.com. Use promo code ZASLOW. It's made from eucalyptus trees. A koala sleeps on a eucalyptus tree up to 18 hours a day. You know how comfortable a eucalyptus mattress is then? I mean, come on, what are we talking about here? Sheetsgiggles.com, promo code ZASLOW, sheetsgiggles.com.